Hello everyone. Okay, here's the Dead Space recording that we're gonna be doing because somebody said that the 4K that I did previously was missing the intro where it lags a lot. I thought I did it, but okay. So let's do it from the beginning. Again, show you the parameters. I got this thing here. Hope it does something. I got this VK. Okay, sorry, the 11 there, so we can get ray tracing. Mango HUD, game mode run, and thing at the end. And voila, let's start. Oh, and I'm using Proton Experimental. Actually, between the last time that I tested and today, I got 2 updates for Proton Experimental. So let's see how that goes. I do know that I'm still waiting for the latest of DXVK and DKD3D and all that. Everybody's waiting. In the meantime, for all AMD users, for the video card and the CPU, you're gonna get a super boost very soon. Very soon. Gonna be enjoying a lot Linux gaming. Okay. A second. The sound in equipment here. Headset. Oh, and OBS got updated to, I mean, on my end. I don't know if I was using on version 29, but now it's on 20. Okay. Watch out for the go. Bye. For full screen. What else is there? Okay. Check. Okay. And here we are gonna put in quality. If I put in any other thing here, it will actually go. It will give me more FPS. I recall that if we leave it in off, it gives me the worst. Oh right, it's here. Okay, so if I put it here, it gives me the worst case of FPS. If we enable quality here, actually it gives me like 30 more FPS, 40, something like that. This string auto. There we go. For that trick, so it enables ray tracing. Okay, we're gonna leave it like this, and then the second test is gonna be with DLSS in quality. Any other will always give me a bunch of FPS, but I want to test it so you guys can get an idea of the 4090 or what you're supposed to be getting on the 4090 on this game.
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I just wish I could talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. Strange. Such a little thing.
That's her. Nicole?
Yeah. First I've heard from her in weeks.
We're 5 minutes out. You still got that thing on repeat? Guess you really miss her.
Fishermer is not a job you turn down, but 6 months apart with only vid calls? It's rough. Easy to say the wrong thing.
I don't blame you. I'd listen to my girlfriend over Hammond reciting security protocols.
Forewarned is forearmed, Miss Daniels.
So you keep saying.
Here we go. Nice clean re-entry. Welcome to Aegis 7.
Imagine 6 months staring at that chunk of rock.
To an independent miner, that's paradise. Aegis 7 is
Okay, you
one
can
of
see
the
that the
lines
worst
of
case
CEC
was like
history.
37,
Some prospect
36
needs to
FPS
life.
there.
Now where is she?
There. Confirming visual contact with USG Ishimura.
What a beauty. Biggest planet cracker in her class, you know. And it looks like they already popped the cork.
Why is it so dark? We should be able to see her running lights.
Yeah. I'll get us into hailing range. Someone's got to be waiting up for us.
Just be careful on the approach. I'm not taking any chances with the CEC's pride and joy.
No chances, huh? Is that why you were digging into my personnel files before we left?
You track your file access?
I'm a computer analyst. Comes with the job.
I ran standard CEC background checks, Miss Daniels. If you want to work in the big leagues, you have to play ball.
Sir, we're in hailing range. USG Ishimura, this is the emergency maintenance team of the USG Kelly responding to your distress call. Come in, Ishimura. Ishimura, do you copy? Come in. This is the USG Kelly.
You ever hear of a full communications blackout on one of these things?
Never. Come on. Someone pick up the damn phone.
The hell is that?
Sounds like their communication array is busted. Maybe a broken encoder. Daniels and I can handle it in 48 hours, max.
Hey, that gives you plenty of time to catch up with Nicole.
Yeah, I hope so.
Jen, Johnson, take us in.
Gravity tethers engaged. Automated docking. Let's go.
We're losing control.
Fuck! We're off course!
Daniel!
Guidance system override isn't responding.
Shit, we're coming in too hot. It's gonna smash us into the hull.
Check! Aim for that emergency stabilizer! There! The blue light! It might slow us down!
Got it.
Drop the flash shield. Everyone brace yourself. Everyone okay?
I'm good.
I'll live. Hey, Johnston. All right?
It's my ankle. Might be broken.
Shit. But better than a broken neck. Or worse. Good call on the stabilizer, Isaac.
Gotta always read the manual.
What the fuck's going on with flight control? That guidance system's a death trap.
Better add it to your repair list. Jen, what's our damage?
Calmed her down. We lost a port booster. Got a fire in one of the stabilizers and... Singularity core's a mess. Could be worse, but not by much.
Then let's get some help. Johnston, stay with the Kellyan. We'll send a medic. Everyone else, with me.
Okay. Let's do it. Titan.
Stand clear.
Crap, came down hard.
Not a great start to our repair mission.
Pulse rifles?
Standard procedure, Miss Daniels. We'll register them at the flight lounge.
Hello? Where is everybody? Half the ship must have heard that landing.
Be proud, Chen. You got us here in one piece.
Johnson might disagree. But you're offering to buy the first round tonight.
I wouldn't mind something to steady my nerves, especially on CEC's tab.
You see anyone in flight control?
No, nobody.
At least we didn't take out the sign.
It holds the record for the highest number of planet cracks, with 34 today, and highest deadly of refined product at 14 trillion kilotons.
Let's get this done, Isaac. May as well get signed in.
Aboard the Ishimura, or strengthening the evacuation workforce on the Hockney. Captain Matthias and his crew.
Welcome, Isaac Clarke, to the USG Ishimura. Rig synced. Collect kinesis and stasis modules from Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple. Location? Error. not found.
I can't reach security.
Okay, now let's this that we gotta remove it so that it disables ray tracing, because ray tracing has an issue when actually the game actually starts. That menu shows everything starts working. And then what you do is you go to display, just make sure that it's not in auto, just low, that's it. And then you can just exit the game. Here, the thing that you gotta add is the 1-1 there. We're done. Start. And now it's gonna actually start. Okay, now let's set the, oops. That's it. Wow, that,
Forget something?
for real? It loaded?
How's the ankle?
Jeez, game loads. Okay, okay, we're gonna put the DLSS, quality, and in auto, so it enables the ray tracing here. You can see the thing there. We're at 4K. Let's see how Linux Ubuntu in this case can handle the game. Let's do it. Menu, yeah. Let's start new. Okay, the lowest one that we got without the DLSS was 37. The average was around 50.
Isaac, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I just wish I could talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. Strange. Such a little thing.
That's her? Nicole?
Yeah. First deferred from her in weeks.
We're 5 minutes out. You still got that thing on repeat? Guess you really miss her.
Ishimura is not a job you turn down, but 6 months apart with only vid calls. It's rough. Easy to say the wrong thing.
I don't blame you. I'd listen to my girlfriend over Hammond reciting security protocols.
Forewarned is forearmed, Miss Daniels.
So you keep saying.
So again, based on my estimations, we can see that 30 additional 30 FPS.
Welcome to Aegis 7.
Imagine 6 months staring at that chunk of rock.
To an independent miner, that's paradise.
Look at the temperature of the
Aegis 7 is one
CPU.
of the richest finds in CEC history. Some prospecting team set up for life. Now where is she?
Oh. But we're getting, instead of the average of 50, we're getting the average of 70 to 80 or 80.
What a beauty. Biggest planet cracker in her class, you know. And it looks like they already popped the cork.
Why is it so dark? We should be able to see her running lights.
Yeah. I'll get us into hailing range. Someone's got to be waiting up for us.
Just be careful on the approach. I'm not taking any chances with the CEC's pride and joy.
No chances, huh? Is that why you were digging into my personnel files before we left?
You track your file access?
I'm a computer analyst. Comes with the job.
I ran standard CEC background checks, Miss Daniels. If you want to work in the big leagues, you have to play ball.
Sir, we're in hailing range. USG Ishimura, this is the emergency maintenance team of the USG Kelly, responding to your distress call. Come in, Ishimura. Ishimura, do you copy? Come in. This is a USG Kelly.
You ever hear of a full communications blackout on one of these things?
Never. Come on. Someone pick up the damn phone.
The hell is that?
Sounds like their communication array is busted. Maybe a broken encoder. Daniels and I can handle it in 48 hours, max.
Hey, that gives you plenty of time to catch up with Nicole.
Yeah, I hope so.
Jen, Johnston, take us in.
Gravity tethers engaged. Automated docking. Let's go.
I'm losing control. Fuck! We're off course!
Daniel!
Guidance system override isn't responding.
Shit, we're coming in too hot. It's gonna smash us into the hull. Jen, aim for that emergency stabilizer. There, the blue light. It might slow us down. Got it.
Drop the flash shield. Everyone brace yourself. Everyone okay?
I'm good.
I'll live. Hey, Johnston. All right?
It's my ankle. Might be broken.
Shit. But better than a broken neck. Or worse. Good call on the stabilizer, Isaac.
Gotta always read the manual.
What the fuck's going on with flight control? That guidance system's a death trap.
Better add it to your repair list. Jen, what's our damage?
Comms are down. We lost a port booster. We've got a fire in one of the stabilizers and... Singularity core's a mess. Could be worse, but not by much.
Then let's get some help. Johnston, stay with the Kellion. We'll send a medic. Everyone else, with me.
Okay, Titan suit. Same thing. I'm not actually going into the building for the recording because everybody knows. I mean, you already saw the previous videos. We're gonna get a bunch of FPS after that. This is the worst area that I've seen so far. That has the worst FPS.
Where is everybody? Half the ship must have heard that land.
So the worst FPS is with DLSS in quality is
What? You're off and running for a
70.
I wouldn't mind something to
70, almost 80.
especially on CEC's tab.
And without DLSS at all, the worst that we got was a couple of jumps to 37 and then average of 50. 50 and above.
At least we didn't take out the sign.
Number of planet craft with 34 to date and highest dead weight of refined product at 14 trillion kilotons and counting.
I'm turning around just to make it exactly, make it lag you so that I got to 60 there. Hey baby.
Welcome, Isaac Clarke, to the USG Ishimura. Rig synced. Collect kinesis and stasis modules from Acting Chief Engineer Jacob Temple. Location? Error. Employee not found.
I can't reach security.
Same for the chief engineer. What is wrong with their comms?
Oi! Alright. So from now on, the average is gonna be always like around 100. I go down a bit, but it'll be 100, so we're not gonna record that part. Get out of here. Instead of exiting the game, just let me... Now we're gonna put DLSS at performance or ultra performance. I mean, I don't see a difference in quality of the game. I mean, what the hell is this? Ultra performance. I think it's racing. Let's do it. Game. Test that.
Jake, it's me. I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything. I just wish I could talk to someone. It's all falling apart here. I can't believe what's happening. Strange. Such a little thing.
That's her? Nicole?
Yeah. First I've heard from her in weeks.
We're 5 minutes out. You still got that thing on repeat? Guess you really miss her.
Fishermer is not a job you turn down, but 6 months apart with only vid calls? It's rough. Easy to say the wrong thing.
I don't blame you.
Okay, let me wait until we get to the station, and we'll get an average. Right now we're getting too much. I think it's gonna go down a lot.
Here we go. Nice clean re-entry. Welcome to Aegis 7.
Imagine 6 months staring at that chunk of rock.
To an independent miner. That's fair
Okay,
enough.
so let's just say that DLSS Ultra Performance is giving us an average of 50 additional FPS versus without DLSS.
There.
Basically 20 more than quality.
Visual contact with USG Ishimura.
What a beauty.
And do note that the kernel,
And it looks like they
I'm
already
using
found
Ubuntu the
Why is it so
6.1.8,
dark?
I think it was, or
Yeah.
0.7.
I'll get us into
You can see the driver version, Ubuntu 22.10. There hasn't been any performance optimizations, overclocking of the GPU or overclocking of the CPU.
You check your files.
Actually, I don't even know how the CPU uses turbo mode because I've never passed the 5500. Just like that's the maximum there. And for the GPU, you are able to overclock it using Nvidia settings. I'm actually afraid of it, so I'm not gonna be overclocking that thing. I did select auto on the mode, so I'm assuming that it's right now it's in preferring performance mode because of the megahertz and stuff. But other than that, you're seeing a default
Come on.
Linux environment on Ubuntu, and you're seeing the performance and all that. Okay.
The hell is that?
Sounds like their communication array is busted.
I'm gonna mention something once we crash.
Broken encoder.
In regards to AMD users using a AMD CPU, but also using the 4090.
Yeah. I hope so.
Jen,
Do know that again? I'm in Ubuntu, I'm not in Arch Linux.
Gravity tether's engaged.
I actually tried to test it. I'll be mentioning the once we crash. Okay, let's wait a second.
I'm losing control.
Fuck! We're off course!
Daniel.
Guidance system override isn't responding.
Shit, we're coming in too hot. It's gonna smash us into the hull. Check! Aim for that emergency stabilizer. There! The blue light! It might slow us down.
Got it. Drop the flash shield. Everyone brace yourselves. Everyone okay?
I'm good.
I'll live. Hey, Johnston. Alright?
It's my ankle. Might be broken.
Shit. But better than a broken neck. Or worse. Good call on the stabilizer, Isaac.
Gotta always read the manual.
What the fuck's going on with flight control? That guidance system's a death trap.
Better add it to your repair list. Jen, what's our damage?
Comms are down. We lost the port booster. We got a fire in one of the stabilizers and... Singularity core's a mess. Could be worse, but not by much.
Then let's get some help. Johnston, stay with the Kellyan. We'll send a medic. Everyone else, with me.
Okay. The same thing, but DLSS Ultra Performance. So while we check the FPS value here,
To our repair mission.
basically we're getting like around 20 more, 15 more than DLSS quality. So here's a story in the past. Wow, that's
Be proud, Jen.
that.
You Gotta see her in one piece.
Oh, now you see the artifacts on the quality.
I wouldn't mind something to settle my
Um,
nerves, especially on
I
some
did try to
season.
install Arch. It didn't detect my NVMe drives at all. And funny because Ubuntu at that time when I installed it, we had look, it's all
Nice way to
blurry
take
there.
out the sun.
I was on 5.19 for the kernel, and the Arch that I was trying to install, the first one from 2023, which had 6.1, and still it didn't detect the NVMe drives. I needed to install it on the NVMe. Like it detected the SSDs, the Samsung 840 or 850 Pros, I forgot. But not the NVMe. And if I were to install it on the Samsung ones, it wouldn't be fair because Ubuntu is actually installed on my second NVMe. I got two SN 850X. So one is for Ubuntu, the other one's for the competing distro. So it didn't work. Like I spent a couple hours there trying to do it. Before any comments start showing because of that, I've actually been installing Linux versions from like scratch, including the Linux from scratch. Like I've been working on Linux since 2001. Caldera Linux, that's how old I've been using it. Puppy Linux and Red Hat, etc. Okay. So by the way, in ultra performance, the graphics look horrible. I mean, they don't look so clear compared to quality or without DLSS. Okay, so we can see that it actually jumped quite a lot. Performance. So yeah, basically the summary is we got like 20 more. And inside here we got like what? 30 more. But the quality, you can see that the quality at some point is very blurry. So anyway, I tried to install Arch Linux, it didn't work. I stopped the whole thing after trying for like an hour and something. I've had experience installing Gentoo, so I went with Gentoo. I did a stage 3 there, and after a bunch of emerges, I was actually able to get it working. The only thing that didn't work properly, maybe something in regards to the OBS version that I was trying to install. Yeah, you can see that the game nice, but it gets blurry. The quality is not very good. I was able to get it. I was able to play Steam. Now here's the thing. Like one of my first experiences with configuring Gentoo, and we're going back to something like 2004, 2005. We were doing a Pentium 3. Okay, it was a Pentium. The Pentium 3 actually had the Gentoo version at that time, and a Pentium 4 had, I don't remember, it wasn't Ubuntu, it was something else. Back where, I forgot what. Point being, when we finished compiling Gentoo for it, for the Pentium 3, the Pentium 3 was actually faster than the than whatever distro we had on the Pentium 4. Was amazing. And then we actually installed that one, Windows XP, at that moment on the Pentium 4, and the Pentium 3 was actually faster. Holy crap! What the? Forgot about this. Oh my god! Oh crap! Hey, excuse me. Mademoiselle. Oh my god! Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I am running. I think the thing. Oh, okay. Yeah. Haha. Faster. Can't open that door. Wait. Yes, you can. What? Oh. Thought it was gonna open it for real. Okay, so my Armani suit got blood. So we were able to do that test, and we were able to confirm that by compiling the Gentoo up to the point, way too many optimizations. Like we spent, I would say, one afternoon, night, and then the morning of the next day compiling. And again, it's a Pentium 3. And when we finished the whole thing, it was faster than Pentium 4. Pentium 4, I forgot what, 2 point something. And the Pentium 3 wasn't even surpassing one gigahertz. So anyway, that was one of my first experiences. After that, we actually did a lot of Gentoo compiling. Then we went with Linux from scratch, it's called. At that time, uh, at least us, we didn't have a lot of Linux, so we were printing everything. Literally, we had a bunch of books. So if you're from the old school, you know what I'm talking about. Like you had a lot of books printed for each distro, the process of installing all of that. Okay. Okay. Second, that thing is not dying. So anyway, I've been through more than 50 distros in, I'm not gonna say in 20 something years that I've been playing around with, because I actually stopped hopping. I would say around 2010, 2011. So we could say that I've been stable with Ubuntu, or mostly with Ubuntu, for the past 10 years. But before that, it was 10 years of 5 years, something like that, of hopping a lot and then actually playing around with a couple. Not hopping, but just testing them, put it like that. Not choosing the specific one that I wanted to 4 years prior to that. So it's like 10 years hopping, you could say, and 10 years stable, which is a lot of experience. At the end of the day, I ended up on Ubuntu for many stability, compatibility, community reasons, especially in the workplace. Um, it's quick and easy to install and all that, and I actually appreciate Ubuntu because it's the only one at that moment that gave the idea that you could install Linux on a look how blurry the whole they can install Linux as a competitive operating system against Windows. Um, that was really good. Okay. And again, I'm from Venezuela. We had a lot of people from the open source world come to Venezuela. Many of the events, I was a coordinator of one of the events there. And for years, uh, there were something along the lines of between 3 and 6 events per year over there. So yeah, everybody was very active there. Community was very big. Um, so with all that garbage that I just said, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I do have some experience installing Linux operating systems, or even Solaris if you wanted to. But it didn't work. It didn't work. It wasn't compatible with NVM. I went with Gen 2. And why am I mentioning that whole story? Is because I've always had the idea that crap. Shit. Yeah, I always had the idea that that thing was actually dead. Forgot about it. Okay, so I always had the idea that Gen 2 was fast, but when I did the tests, in gaming, we're talking about 1.5 FPS more, not the ones that I remember or recall. Okay, so for the amount of work that you put in installing Gen 2, I was actually expecting a lot of more performance, especially for this type of hardware. Okay, and yeah, I did not get that. Like that actually killed me 2 days ago. So I was actually expecting more. Okay. Oh my god, I don't got any bullets. Oh crap. Um wow, those things are dumb, no? Okay. So I did not get a lot of performance benefits, put it like that, for the effort, for the time. So that's something that people should know about. In Ubuntu, I just went, installed the thing, boom, boom, I'm done. I'm also a researcher. That's why I was doing a lot of hopping there and whatnot. But that's basically done. Like if I have to benchmark something, okay, we can do it. Take our time with there. Um, but it's not my day-to-day anymore. So right now I'm stuck with Ubuntu. I like it, very stable. I got good community for. Um, and compatibility, especially compatibility, type of hardware that we use. A lot of people complain about it. Well, I'll be doing a video about that later. What distro to use. Um, Obviously, if I'm a Ubuntu representative, or let's put it like that, I've been using Ubuntu for a while. Plus, what? Okay. Plus, like my email is luisalvarado@ubuntu.com. But there's specific cases where you might want to use something else, especially for work. Okay. And if it's for gaming, actually, now talking about gaming, you go here so you can. I actually tested this one on one of my previous videos. I did a test for this. It did not go well. On the video, I actually showcased that this underperformed. This one, and I think the other one was Liquorix, I think it's called. They underperform compared to the Ubuntu default one. Assuming Ubuntu, when they put their kernels out, they actually do some type of session to it. Because if these kernels are supposed to be targeting, better performance and all of that, especially for what they advertise here, the real-time version is recommended for critical runtime applications such as Linux gaming servers, clients, or well, the RT real-time ones don't actually. They're good, but they're not for us desktop users, especially because some of the tools actually break if you the real-time ones. But for the normal ones, they advertise a lot of things here, and they did not have or what I was expecting. They did not have the performance that I was expecting to be better than the Ubuntu default one. So that's something that I need to mention there. In regards to going back to Gen 2, the performance for gaming on Steam. This I was testing on Steam. So I tested Counter-Strike, The Witcher, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Dead Space. And that's why you saw the settings like that. Like I had them there. Remember. Um and it wasn't big. It wasn't a big performance boost. We're not talking 10 FPS more or 15 or something like that. We're talking 1.5 at most, like almost 2 sometimes. And I was let down because I was really expecting Gen 2 to kick ass on Ubuntu. Okay. My theory about this is that at some point the kernel or the optimizations that were typically being done by other distributions, they all got merged into the original kernel, and now all kernels are mostly the same. It's similar to what Phoronix, the site Phoronix mentioned, that comparing multiple distributions at the same time, you're gonna at the gaming area, you're most likely gonna end up with the same performance. Okay, with the exception of Clear Linux, which is a heavily optimized for Intel, which wouldn't be fair. That's why I don't use it. I could install it here if somebody wants to comment on it. I can try to install it here and see how it performs because everything that I have is Intel related. But it wouldn't be fair in general. Okay, because there's AMD. Okay, and there's other type of hardware that's not Intel based. But again, the only difference you're gonna see if Mesa gets updated, you're using a different kernel, you're using a different driver. But in this case, I was using Gen 2 with the same version of Nvidia, the same kernel version, by the way. All the parameters that I saw in the gaming performance Gen 2 community, okay, all the hints and tips and all that. So I actually apply a bunch of them, okay. We're talking, I would say something like 5 hours installing Gentoo. So it was very annoying just to see that it was performing the same. It wasn't below Ubuntu, it was just above, but we're talking a dumb amount, just 1 FPS or 2 FPS at most. So that's that. Okay. For the Arch users, if you're using Arch, I mean, I would assume that you would know how to solve some of the issues because you're literally using Arch, which is basically a Lego version of Linux because you have more flexibility. Let's put it like that. You have more flexibility in doing a lot of things. In my case, I not only don't want to have the time to keep on doing that because I actually spent and learned between 5 and 10 years doing my own Linux things until I just finish it. You know what? I'm staying with the one that has the biggest community, the biggest everything, and that's Ubuntu in this case. So if you don't want headaches, you can try to use Ubuntu in this case. If you want to dig and learn, if you're into learning, well, actually you can use any distro, but there's Linux from scratch. If you want to learn literally how Linux works, or some more complex ones, in this case Arch, because of the way that it installs. Like we're looking at it like a 1998 kind of thing. And the way that you can, let's put it like this, you can create your own Arch piece by piece, okay? Which is very interesting. The thing is, in a practical way, is what I'm talking about. It takes a while. It takes longer. I just want to jump, test, show it to you. So that's why I'm testing this specific one because of the worst case scenario, Ubuntu in theory would be the less optimized one for gaming. So if you go to any other, you're supposed to see better performance either in speed, FPS, etc. But I'm leaving this one as the default or the base distro so you can compare against yours. And you're gonna find out, and it's mostly you yourself that needs to have the experience. Because if I tell you, there are a lot of people that are gonna just say, no, it's not like that. Dude, you don't know what you're talking about, whatever. Okay, so what I do is, okay, test it yourself. Test it yourself. If it's practical, easy, maybe for newcomers, it doesn't have to be, but if it's that would be a bonus. And you achieve better performance, and we're not talking 1, 2. I'm hoping 5, 10 FPS. Okay, something better. Obviously, with the same hardware or with a compatible or competing hardware. And I'm talking in regards to AMD and all that. Then great. That's good. I'm learning from you. But if 20 something years working on Linux, teaching Linux for something like 6 years. Yeah, I was a college professor. I actually taught master's degrees in open source. Has taught me something is that when the distros at the end, and they're all based on Linux, they start to compete against each other, you're not gonna see a lot of difference between them unless either the kernel change and a specific part of the kernel change during that difference of versions, a driver changed. Okay, something between the two that you were testing actually changed completely. If that doesn't happen, they're gonna be basically the same performance, which is the thing that you can see on Phoronix. Here, Phoronix. Everything you see benchmarks here, and I'm just gonna type, I don't know, benchmark distro or something like that. So you got here's 8-way Spring 2020 something whatever. Here's Intel's Clear Linux outpacing Ubuntu, obviously. That's a beast. Here's another one. Just want to show you. Okay, so this, hoping that this ends the whole trivial fighting between distros. Just pick one, whichever is easier for you. that has better support, like in the case of Arch with my NVMe, that has a big community or a community dedicated to it, okay, and you can get answers quickly. So do know that between all this, and actually, if you search for this page, you might find that either they were using, I mean, most likely they're using different kernel versions, okay? But let's do this benchmark, okay? We can see WireGuard less, it's faster, okay? Here it has better FPS, and here, yeah, it had the best FPS and whatnot, okay? Do know that if we go here, we can see that, okay, here's a case. We got Ubuntu, better performance than Endeavor OS and Manjaro. But most likely you're gonna, if I keep on going down, you're gonna see that they have better performance than Ubuntu. One of these two, okay, is gonna have better performance. So at some point, because of some specific change in the kernel, Manjaro is gonna be faster than Ubuntu, or Endeavor OS is gonna be faster than Ubuntu. Like in this one, more is better. Crap. Just give me a chance. You're gonna see that they're, yeah, like here. See? So more is better. So now in this particular case, for something that happened in the kernel, Endeavor OS is better than Ubuntu. Here again, both of them are better. Like all of them are better than Ubuntu. And what's the percentage? Almost nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. There's, it's not worth the effort if this is the only jump that you're gonna have. I remember 10 years ago, the jump was, we were talking 15%, 10%, 15. You're like, holy crap, I want to go there. But here's just small the differences. Again, except for I don't know why a Clear Linux is not here. This one, maybe it failed or something. But the difference is just small. Okay, and when the difference is big, sometimes it's because of that. It's because it's the worst one, like that. So this is from 2020. Go to, close this one. Let's go here to 2022. So 2 years later, Clear Linux is apparently using cocaine, something like that. This one was heavily optimized there. Arch Linux, look at that baby. Okay, again, let's look at this. Arch Linux last year, good performance. Here's the Ubuntu 22.04. Okay, and here's the 20.04. So fewer is better. Arch Linux, hell yeah. Okay, more is better. There's our Arch Linux, and now that one, which was basically losing by a lot, now it's super close to it. And here, fewer is better. And now Ubuntu is winning here. And Arch Linux is down here. It's because of the specific optimizations that are done on the kernel. So there's no, this is the best one, with the exception of Clear Linux, but there's no, this is the best one out there. It's something that everybody should know. Okay, you gotta pick the one that's more friendlier, easiest, compatible to you. Stick with that puppy. And if you're gonna be hopping, from experience, I would say learn kernel commands, learn the architectural structure of how Linux works, folder structures, okay, the base on the whole thing, so that when you start jumping from Pacman to RPMs to Debian packages to Yum to whatever, you know how to defend yourself, because you know that, okay, on Linux, things install, configure themselves this specific way. Or if you have an issue, you know where to specifically go, to which files or directory to fix it. So that's better before you start hopping. Instead of testing or just criticizing a specific distro because it uses specific, like a lot of people criticize Ubuntu with Snap. Sure, I was literally with them. If you follow me on the Ubuntu Discourse and Ask Ubuntu, when I was actually in Ask Ubuntu moderator, I was heavy on that. Like Snap sucked. And we're talking 2017, 2018. Now, fast forward 2022, Snap is much faster, several times faster. I actually did a video about that where Snap and Flatpak were basically the same speed. The only difference was that the Snap was able to uninstall a package super fast compared to Flatpak, but that was not a useful argument because you're not going to be, uh, you know, comparing which one uninstalls things faster. You want to compare which one installs things faster and two uses less space. When I did a disk usage, Flatpak was actually draining a lot of the things that I had there, so I had to remove it. And Snap, my only issue with it is, with the Firefox and stuff like that. Like I want my packages, I want my freedom for that. Which I have. If you install a PPA, if you use Flatpak, you have other options. You got app image and so on and so forth. So the argument for Snap died there. There was another argument about Amazon spying, blah blah blah. That died one distro version to the other one, and still people in 2023 are still talking about it. It's like you made a mistake years ago and they still blame you for it when you corrected the problem. So for those arguments, like I got nothing to say. It's like talking to the wall. But you can see Arch Linux here down a lot, Ubuntu up here, and then again, see, and then probably again or something. More is better. Here's one with Arch is beating Ubuntu. Here's where they're basically tied. And so on and so forth. Okay, so you can see, again, with the exception of Clear Linux, because it's the only one that uses cocaine, um, Arch and Ubuntu are hit and miss. Basically, they're the same thing, and most likely they're benchmarked in cases where you're not going to be using that a lot. Okay? Something to take into consideration. Oh, okay. Well, okay. Okay, so I picked. Oh, in this particular, this is one of the things that I use, and I can see that I picked nice. But here again, okay, benchmarks can keep on going, and I think there's a geometric average. Holy Jesus, that's a lot of. Okay, here's a number of first place finishes. Ubuntu won one. What's this supposed to be? Oh, I got it. So Arch Linux won in 9 of them. Ubuntu 2004 and one, the other one over there, and so on and so forth. And the difference would have been nice because the differences were very small. Okay. And how come I only won one? I just saw it. This one. Oh, I saw it one several times. I don't know if this is correct. Number of last place finish. Arch Linux. Wait, how am I supposed to read this? Like I saw Arch Linux winning a lot of too. I am confused. I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, geometric mean of all test results. Well, I mean, there's a lot of tests, but I think there's something wrong with this graphs. Geometric means. Let me see. Where's the Ubuntu 2204? This one. So more is better. There's our Arch Linux by a bit over the 22. Well, I'm using 2210 now, but the 2204, it's around here. They should actually do and this is my point. They should actually do a new one every 6 months or something like that. Because when I updated myself from 2204 to 2210, there was a huge performance. If you're using an Nvidia driver, you all know what I mean. And with GNOME, when they updated, the dragging issue, there was again another performance jump there. Like the FPS jumped twice between October and December. So that would have been an awesome test to do during that time. Hope I'm not dragging this video too much. Let's see. June 20. Okay, so we're more or less there. There's the Arch. Oh, look, Pop. Okay, so we got Pop, Ubuntu right there. Okay, you see it's failing like a sucker. Average. Everything is more or less average. Okay, there's the Ubuntu. Look at that. Oh my god. Just what I'm talking about. It's just that, I mean, come on. This four are basically the same thing. So let's go to the geometric one. We get the gist. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of tests. Okay, so at the end, what are we talking about here? More is better. Okay, so we got Ubuntu there, Arch Linux there. What happened here? Maybe Arch updated the kernel and the new kernel was having, I don't know, some issue or something along the lines of that. Could have been that. Because typically, again, I'm with both, or with the 3 or the 4 or whatever. It's always, if you're on the same kernel, the same, literally everything, you're gonna be more or less performing the same way, except for Cocaine Man here. All right, I forgot about this. There's a huge update that AMD users are gonna be getting. Huh? Didn't see this. Well, we gotta wait until for Onyx actually does the test with the 7950X. That's gonna be cool against the, well, it wouldn't be fair with the 4090. It should be with the 4080. I think it was comparing itself to. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But again, I hope this video helps in determining what distro to pick. I'll be creating one, basically promoting in an objective way Ubuntu, but also for you guys to actually have like a roadmap so you can test out the distro of choice and just stick with it. Stick with it because you want to learn how Linux actually works from the very beginning. Okay, so that's it. Hope you liked the video. Big hugs to everybody and think positive as always. Thank you.